Adesso vorrei invitare sul palco Amit Kachvan. Amit è la direttrice di The Library. The Library è il coworking pubblico della città di Tel Aviv, probabilmente uno dei centri innovativi più grandi del mondo. E è qui oggi per parlarci di come è nata quest'idea, qual è il suo modello di funzionamento e soprattutto della nuova piattaforma della municipalità di Tel Aviv per supportare l'ecosistema locale. Thank you very much.
Well, hello everyone. Thank you for having me. I have no idea what Giuseppe just told about me. I guess he told you I'm managing the library in Tel Aviv. So before I'll tell you about the library, let me tell you a bit more about Tel Aviv. So Tel Aviv is the second largest city in Israel. We have 430,000 residents in 52 square kilometers. I don't know if you know how big Palermo is, but Palermo is third the size of Tel Aviv, and almost the same amount of people. And every day we have more than 500,000 visitors in the city. So the city contains more than 1 million people during the day, coming, working, sitting, studying, enjoying the city. And that's create a very interesting environment. So, Tel Aviv DNA. The New York Times called Tel Aviv the Mediterranean capital of cool. We have almost 2,000 cafes and bars and nightclubs and a lot of boulevards and places to hang out. Beaches and public spaces. We have 14 kilometers of beach. As you can see, a very white sand and blue Mediterranean Sea. And recently, we were chosen as one of the 7 greenest cities in the world when you count places with green trees. So our environmental space is very nice and people love to hang out outside. The whole concept of creative class, third of the population of Tel Aviv are between the ages of 18 to 35. That put Tel Aviv as one of the youngest cities in the world, the youngest in Israel, that's for sure. And it creates a very dynamic and young environment. As you can see, we have parties in the streets almost every night. And the city is very vivid. You can walk in the streets during the night, and there are a lot of people. And a lot of young people come to Tel Aviv between the ages of 20 and 30. And it's a very dynamic population that changed a lot and live in rental houses and create a lot of their new initiatives in the city. And the third thing is Tel Aviv is a very high-tech city. We have free Wi-Fi in the streets, also for the use of tourists and for our own use. You can see students sitting in parks and working on their projects and about their studies. And we have a city app called Digital. It's like the residents club where we can get all kinds of notification about things that are happening in the city and things we can be part of. And it creates a very, the connection between the city and its residents and the people who are coming to visit the city is very, very techy. And from that, I want to tell you a bit more about the library story. What you can see here is Rothschild Boulevard, or as we call it, the Silicon Valley. This is the place where most of the high-tech companies a lot of R&D centers are located. It's like a very long boulevard along the city. And a lot of young entrepreneurs, a lot of tech entrepreneurs want to be around this boulevard. And we're talking about almost 2,000 startup companies in the city that looking for an office near Rothschild Boulevard. As I said, renting an office and renting a place and an office is very, very expensive in the city. And we as a municipality understood that if we want to help those young startups, we need to give them what they need. What is their biggest pain? And their biggest pain, or one of their biggest pains, is renting an office. As you can see in the back of the picture, there is a big tower that's a very known monument in Tel Aviv. It's called the Shalom Tower. Like 20 years ago, it was the highest tower in the Middle East, but since then, it's not anymore. And in Shalom Tower, we had a traditional municipal library that looked like that. For decades, there was a library with books, and people came to exchange books and to read, but in the last 10 or 15 years, the libraries all over the world lost their place in city life or in people's life. People don't read books anymore, and if they do read, they want to buy it and keep it their own, or maybe use tablets. And we understood the library is no longer needed, and we had like such a big space unused. And we thought, okay, we have a big space right in the middle of Rothschild Boulevard, and we have 2,000 tech companies who need a place to stay. What can we do? And then in 2011, we established the library. I don't know if you noticed, but it's the same space. In a very low amount of money, we changed and re-innovated the whole space, or half of the space, for co-working space for tech entrepreneurs. They get it for 4 to 8 months, so they don't need to sign on a rent for a year, because, as you know, high-tech companies, startup companies, they don't really know what's going on with them during the first year, that's for sure, and also the next second and third year. So we gave them the space for a short amount of time to see if they are able to hold their company, if they are progressing. We made it affordable. Co-working spaces in the city, or even renting an office, cost as much as 500 euro per month, and we give it to them in 70 euro per month per person, so they can afford it. And if they won't succeed in the first few months of their startup, it won't be so bad because they didn't pay so much money. We put it, as I said, in a great location in the middle of Rothschild Boulevard of the Silicon Valley. And the most important thing is that we created a community around the startups. We wanted them to come to the library, to stay in the library. We asked them at the beginning, when they are approaching us, we ask them if they are fully dedicated to the startup, not because we are giving them the space or we are putting any money. It's because we want to know that they will come and use the facility we created. And we created a community around them, people who they can ask and share ideas, and they even asking like the size of their logo, if it's in a good size, in good color, and they're helping each other a lot. And the community is one of the most important things we discovered they need, because they can wake up in the morning and open their computer and work from home, or from their living room, or from the nearby cafe. But what they need is people who they can ask and help each other and get help from. So that's a very important part of the library. Some numbers about the library. Since we opened in 2011, we had more than 150 startups that are more than 500 entrepreneurs. 60% of them are still active, which is a very good number. I don't know if you know the numbers in the startup ecosystem. At least 80 or 90% of them are closed after a few years, and since we opened, we have more than 60% who are still active, and a third of them have successfully raised funds of over $100 million. And I have to say we don't measure our success by how many of them got funded or did an exit, but it's nice to know that they are successful. And from here, I want to tell you more about the numbers of the ecosystem, because it's very important to what we currently do with the library. So it's only for like a small taste, 40% increase in the number of startup companies in the last 4 years. A lot of R&D centers, a lot of international companies come into Tel Aviv, and a lot of co-working space. I don't know if you heard about WeWork. It's an international company established in the United States. WeWork opened 4 co-working spaces in Tel Aviv for more than 1,000 of entrepreneurs. So a small space like ours for 50 entrepreneurs per round try to compete with the whole Vivid ecosystem in Tel Aviv. So what we understood that we need to check what is our value proposition as a co-working space established and handled by the municipality. And then we understood, we are the government, we are the municipality. We have things and we have data and we have, we can connect them with people and with companies that they cannot reach on their own and as being as part of the private market. So we decided to open a startup committee. As you can see, that's in the library conference room. The startup committee meets startups and decide whether they can give them databases of the municipality. Municipal expert, meeting with municipal expert, helping, the municipal expert helps them if they need, using the city as a database. We can give them access to city, to public spaces, to educational data. Every data that the municipality holds, we can give it to them if they want. And we're also working on tax reduction, because tax is a major part of their expenses as new companies. One more thing that we started to do is special events for smart city startups. Smart city or a startup who increase the quality of living for in Tel Aviv or in Israel or in general in the world. We created Hackathon. It's a very big competition for tech entrepreneurs, and meetups and election and collaboration with relevant global organizations. We can give them all kinds of support that they cannot get outside or in the private market, support that only the municipality can provide. So, in large, our role as the municipality inside this market, as a player in the private market or in the startup market, is connecting the municipality and the challenges that the municipality meets, and maybe challenges that residents in the city have as part of being a big major city, and connecting it with the ecosystem. Letting them try and solve those challenges, giving them the facilities and the data if they needed to solve those challenges. And we believe that that's our role inside this very, very competitive market, and that's a role that no one else can hold. And with very low resources, we were able to give them all of those resources and facilities and places where they can work from, work with, and do it as part of a very big community. And we believe that's our most important part inside this ecosystem. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amit.